Hey, what up, SGK users? Poke here again. Today, what we're going to do is continue with our true first-person character and turn it into using, or get it using the game animation sample. What we'll do is go ahead and get the stuff we need from Gasp. So, first thing, go to Edit, Project Settings, Gameplay Tags, and then export it somewhere where you can find it easily, like Unreal Projects, I guess. And then you want to go to the project that you're working on, your project, and go to project settings, gameplay tags, and import, and then find where you put those. So, all right, so once we have our tags in, the next step is to go ahead and copy the information we need from here. Now, probably the easiest thing to do is just right-click blueprints in the game animation sample, migrate it, and we definitely need everything that's in the blueprints. We don't necessarily need everything in characters, but we're just going to go ahead and put everything in. We're going to copy everything that's coming with it. Because if we don't do level prototyping, we're going to have compile errors in the character. And then also with the blueprints we need to have, because there's stuff in there that is linked through the traversal. And we're going to add an extra little traversal piece here that we do need to have this. So this is very important right now, is that when you migrate this in here to be able to use, right now, game animation sample, you can only traverse these items here. They have to have this little thing on it right here. So everything that you want to be able to traverse has to have that on it. There's a component that we're going to download here that allows you to basically traverse anything. So you don't need to make special things. Pretty much any mesh that's, as long as it's not too big, you should be able to traverse it with this thing. So, but it's really important that this folder structure stays just like this in order for that component to work. So go ahead and get that copied. I've already got it copied into mine. Actually, I don't think I copied everything, but we'll just make sure that's the right one. We'll just make sure that everything's copied here. All right, now that everything's copied over, we can go ahead and close game animation sample. We don't need it anymore. We have everything we need. OBS sucks now. It used to have a pause button on it, but now I have to stop and start and have a bunch of different videos that I have to splice together. So I had to get some cheap video editing software. Free, actually, OpenShot. It's actually not that bad for being free, but anyway. All right, so next thing we want to do is we want this right here. I will put a link to this video in the description here when we're done. But basically we want to get this. He has a GitHub here that has the item on it. You just download it. And there's two parts to it. It's in, okay, you download it, it's in the Climb Everywhere, content, blueprints, components. So we'll go up one here, we'll copy this folder. And then we will go to our project, which is, oops, I wasn't even showing you that. But yeah, anyway, content, blueprints. So we want components. And then we're going to copy it into our project. You want to put it exactly where it is. Let's see, let me find this project real quick here. I have so many project folders. Yeah, here we go. So in our project that we are working on, we want to go into the project, content, blueprints, and then just go ahead and paste that in there. So we got the components and those two AC traversals. Now again, it's very important that those stay in the correct folder structure because they're looking for other items in here. So if you don't maintain the folder structure, this is not going to work when you copy it in here. So keep that in mind. So now that we have that in there, if we go into our blueprints here, We now have a component section on these two. We can just go ahead and open it up and verify that hopefully there's no compile errors in it. There just shouldn't be. Oh, I guess there is. Oh, that's right. I need to enable a couple of project settings here. Totally forgot about. Or plugins, I mean, sorry. Totally forgot that one. All right. It's all right. We'll be fine. Once we restart, that should all be fine once the plugins are installed. So look for warping. We want animation warping and motion warping. And then you want to look for chooser. And what was the other error? Was that it? Was there another one? Oh well, we'll find out. So go ahead and enable those for now, and then we'll restart and see what happens. All right, so there is one more plugin that we need, and it is motion trajectory. So make sure you enable this one as well, because if you don't, you're still gonna have those errors. So we need motion trajectory, the motion warping, the animation warping, and the chooser. So those are the 4 plugins you need. All right, so that's all good there. Now what we're going to do is we'll just go ahead and take a look, make sure character's good here. There's no compile errors anywhere around here. No, this one's good. Check the animation blueprint as well. Yep, it looks good too. All right, so we're ready to go. I think what we're going to do right now is go in here to our animation notifies and the animation notify fully event. We'll go ahead and open it up here, and we're going to reparent this to BP footstep. All right, and then we're basically just going to remove everything that's in here. We can go ahead and delete that get audio bank thingy. Get notified name should be fine. But in the receive notify, we just want to do a add call to parent function. Or actually, we can just delete it. And then we should be fine. Oh, oops, I didn't mean to delete the name one. Dang it. All right, let's see. We want to delete the receive notify. We need to get notify name because it needs to be set up like this to be able to get the right event. What this is doing, this is saving us from having to basically copy the footstep in here. Otherwise, we'd have to go through and like manually change all of the animation notifies in the animation. So this should allow it to work now. Let's take a look. Run. We just want to make sure that our notifies are in place, and yes, they are. And they have the side and everything there. So, all right, so we should be good on that. Sound should be working for that. We can find out real quick by going to survival game kit, blueprints, characters, SGK game mode, and we'll set our character. Is it default pawn? Yes, default pawn. We'll set it to our sandbox character here. We're going to probably have all kinds of errors, but we just want to make sure that everything's working. He's moving. Oh, I'm not hearing footsteps, but that might be. Let's see, we can figure that out real quick. Let's just we'll go ahead and override the receive notify event. Let's see if it's even working. So we'll do a print string. Yeah, they're working. So I bet you that the sound is just not set in them. Let's see, sound settings. Yeah, there's one sound. Oh wait, enabled is not. Yeah, it's in. I wonder if it didn't copy to these though. That happens sometimes. Yeah, see, enabled has all been reset to default. So And then there is one thing that we need to do to, let's see, where is it? The get bone name. I want to get the side here. And then what we can do is do that and that. And we'll do one more. And then that'll be left. That'll be right. Now we may have to, yeah, no, that's set. And there's one other thing too here, the trace. Okay, that's all set. We can delete that because we know it's working now. So we should have, okay, we need to go through all of these. We can probably do edit defaults. Yeah. Just need to make sure they're all enabled. Just make sure they all have sound. Nope, see, all right. For some reason, it all is set to default for some reason, so. Sound settings is wiped, trace settings is wiped, bone settings is wiped. We shouldn't have to worry about this right foot because that's being controlled by the side variable that we just were playing with there. So, all right, well, that should fix that. These should all work now, all these notifies. Yep. All right, cool. Well, there's sound. Now let's go back to our, before we forget, and to characters here, game mode, set it back to our SGK master. And speaking of SGK master, that's what we want next, so let's go there. And if you remember yesterday, we have our Manny, or actually Quinn, driving our metahuman parts. Well, that's going to change a little bit here, so go ahead and click on mesh. Then we want to add another skeletal mesh, and we're going to call this our driven mesh. And then we are going to take the everything else, legs, arms, torso, face. Actually, I don't, will it come with torso? It might bring it over automatically. So we need all of that, and we want that to be on the driven mesh. And yes, it did bring the face and neck over automatically. So our driven mesh, that's actually going to now be Quinn or Manny, depending upon your setup. And that's going to be using the ABP third person blueprint, the one from SGK. Then everything else here should stay the same for now. So we have our main mesh here, and then we have our driven mesh that we just added, which again, we can go ahead and make this one not visible and hidden in game. And then one other thing we want to do while we're in here right now is go to the SGK get mesh. We want to swap this out for driven mesh. And we want to go into construction script here, and we want to get rid of that and put driven mesh here. Everything else should be on here like so. I think that should all be good. All still working. All right, that's good for now. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and we are going to reparent this blueprint. Now, depending upon your project, you may have your SGK character parented to something else. I don't know. In my personal project, I have Drivable Cars Advanced, and my SGK character was parented to that. And what I did is I went ahead and parented the sandbox character to the drivable cars character, and then reparented SGK to the sandbox, and that worked out for me. It all depends on how you want to do it. You could make sandbox the main, or if you have another character already, you can put it in between. It's up to you. But in the end, SGK character does, in one way or the other, need to be parented to sandbox character. So. All right, as you can see, we added a couple cameras and stuff here. We can get rid of those. We want to go into our sandbox character. And we'll go ahead and we can just, we're not using their camera. I mean, it could be decent. I don't know. I'm not doing that. So I want to get rid of that. We can go ahead and just actually delete that function. I mean, maybe you might want to play with it later and not delete this, but I'm going to delete it for now just because I'm deleting the camera as well. And this extra spring arm and camera that's not being used. All right, so there's that for now. What we're going to do is add the AC traversal and AC traversal calculations. And then another thing that we're going to do is, let's see, how did we do that before? No, that's right. We're going to be back in this section here later. But we're going to go ahead and disconnect these because we're going to actually use the, if you remember, if you followed along the original, the last gas tutorial I made, we actually used a lot of these inputs from gas. Well, we're not using them in here anymore, but we're going to leave the jump here for now because we're going to use part of that. We don't need crouch. Don't need the strafe or the aim. And we don't need the camera stuff. Again, if you want to play around with the camera, go for it. Leave it in. Do your thing. The only issue is you want to make sure that both of those cameras are deactivated. Otherwise, it'll try and activate those cameras when you try and play. Well, if you notice now our... Oh, wait. Why did it not? I guess we need to reset it. All right. So our main mesh is now the UEFN mannequin. And then our driven mesh is Quinn or Manny, whatever yours is set up for. Then one thing that we want to do now is let's just see what happens. Okay, yeah. Not working very well, but we can fix all that. It's because it's using the SGK character movement, and we have to change some things in there. So, give me a minute. I need to go get something to drink, so we're gonna pause it, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, I'm back, and I'm dumb. The reason it's moving all weird right now is because we don't have anything set up really yet, but it does move, and that's the important thing. So, first, let's go into the character here, and let's go ahead and move that camera boom onto the driven mesh. Do we have a camera socket? No, but we can just put it on the head. Put it on the head socket, reset the rotations, should be good. That's gonna get rid of that really weird, the camera was moving around all weird right now. So yeah, see, that's much better. And let's see what's next. We want to go into, first let's go into the animation blueprint for sandbox character. There's a couple of things that we want to do. Animation graph. this offset root bone really makes some weird stuff happen, so we need to bypass that. Gonna get a couple compile errors here. And of course, it's being dumb and won't let take you to it. So I think that one of them was in the functions. Motion matching, that's where one of them is in here. No. You know what? Arg. All right, it's update essential values is definitely does have one. It has this right here, offset root. I'm just gonna bypass that right there. And then we're just gonna go ahead and search for offset root here. That's where we're at, is update. Nope, not in there. It's not in there either. It's a debug. There it is. This last one right here. Just disconnect this last thing here in the debug experimental state machine, and that should get rid of our compile errors. And having that root bone thing enabled causes your head to spin around like The Exorcist. It's crazy. So we're disabling that. Next thing we want to do is go to our retargeted characters in this APB generic retarget right here. Go ahead and open it up. And then we also want to open up our survival game kit third person animation blueprint. And go back here. We're going to copy this function right here. We are going to paste that function in here. Go ahead and create that. Wait, do we need? Yeah, we do need to create that. I'm pretty sure. We'll just make sure. Yeah, we do. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just copy this, all of it. And we're going to go in here and we're going to create a function. Paste that all in there. We'll call this, I don't know, do the retarget, I guess. Do the retargeting. And then we want to create that variable, and that variable. All right. And then what we can do is go back in here. All that should be all good. And then we want to go to the event graph, begin play. We'll go ahead and do the retargeting here. And then we want to go back to event graph and go to update. And we'll go ahead and add it in here as well. Where'd it go? Right there. All right, so there's that. Now the only other thing we really need to do on here, well, there's a couple things that we should need to do, but we're going to do retarget pose from mesh. We want to go here and we want to set this to our IK retargeter and then this to our retarget profile. We're going to go ahead and create a cache pose, so new saved cache pose, and we'll call this gasp locomotion. All right. We're going to take this locomotion, drag it up here, and we'll go ahead and do a saved cache pose for this as well. And we'll call this SGK locomotion. Now this could technically be for any project, any locomotion, so whatever. I mean, this would work with pretty much any, not necessarily SGK, you could replace this into any animation blueprint. So, all right, so we have those two right there. Now what we're gonna do is go ahead and we want a layered blend per bone. The two layers. Wait, two layered blend. Yes. Okay. So we want to set the blend mode to blend mask, and then for our blend mask, we want to do upper body mask. Go ahead and do mesh space rotation blend, root space rotation blend, and we're going to set this to normalize by weight. That seemed to be a really good combination here. So what we're going to do here, let's go ahead and make a little comment here, locomotion. And what we'll do is we'll get a SGK locomotion and a gasp locomotion. Oops. And we want to have it like that. That's our base, that's our blend. And then what we want to do here is we want to add a blend poses by bool. And we want this to be our true. And then for false, we want this. And then what we're going to also do is we're going to go ahead and get allow hand IKs. Oops. Allow hand IKs, and we are also going to get is holding item. I'm going to do an and boolean. Plug it in there. And then we're going to take this right here. And we'll give this a comment and we'll call this blending. And then we're going to plug that in there. So it's going to be blending both of the poses together if you're holding a weapon and the allow hand IKs is enabled. This will come into, I mean, the is holding weapons pretty obvious. We're going to use both animations together. And if not, it's just going to use the gasp animation. And that's mostly the allow hand IKs is going to be for when we do our vaulting and traversals. It was the only way I could do, the only way I was able to get it to actually work. I tried using the notifies in, like actually adding the notifies to all the gasp animations I could find that had anything to do with traversal. And it didn't work 100% of the time, but this seems to, so. All right, so now we have that set up. What we do need to do is go back down here to the very bottom, and in here in the third person foot IKs section, just connect the first two here and untick them. All right, next, what we're going to need to do is, let's take a look here. Well, let's see how it works. We should have movement. Oh, no, we won't, because we forgot to do the IK targeting. So, if you go back to the generic retarget, which was in here, retargeted characters, we want to get this map. We'll just go ahead and copy it. And then we want to go to our ABP third person. And we want to go to the IK retargeter map. Paste it in there. And then we want to take a look right here. RTG UEFN to UE5 mannequin. We need to copy what it says here in the IK retargeter map. And then go to SGK master character. And then to the driven mesh. And under component tags, the very first one needs to be this right here. but it's still not working. I'm missing something. Let's see. Have a third person delete. You should be able to see the character should be standing in the animation pose right now. What am I missing? Got that. We set up in the character. I am confused now. Oh, there we go. All right. So now it's working. Just being dumb. All right. Oh, there we go. We have gas. We're not going to have traversal right now because we haven't set that up yet. Well, actually, we would if we put the gas traversal blocks in. It would work. But you see it's kind of acting kind of funny. If we go to our master character, class default, search for gate. It should be walking when you start off, but it doesn't seem to be. So that's what I have the gate set to as walk. Let's try it on sprint and see what happens. Oh, I know why. Jeez. It helps. I don't even have any sprint code set up for the character right now, so we need to go back into character inputs. We need to find the sprint code, which is right here. We should have room here. And what we want to do is get a character input state. And then we want to set members. And from here, we want to update input state server. This we want to set it turn on wants to sprint. And then we're also going to turn on wants to walk. We're going to plug wants to sprint into here. And that gets hooked up here. Actually, no, it gets hooked up to triggered. All right, so there's that. And then we want to go ahead and duplicate this. And we want to set it to wants to walk here. Now, we shouldn't have that goofy running going on, I don't think. Oh, it is still. But when we let go, it starts to walk. Sprints normally. Let go. Walks. It is set to walk off the start. It probably needs to be set somewhere. I think I could probably put this on begin play and that'll make it so it always does that. I'm not sure why it's doing that weird kind of walk thing. That could be something that it's something. It's going to have something to do within the speed settings and in this section right here. Where is it? Which is it? Probably in here. Tweak some stuff in here. I don't know. I'm good with the walking and running. We're sprinting. It works, so now let's go ahead and there's a lot of stuff we have to do to get the weapons and stuff to work properly in here. So we're going to go ahead and take another little break here and we'll be back. All right, I am back. All right, next step is let's just go ahead and go in here and see if we can find any. We want to get mesh. And construction strip, get mesh, that's fine. We're good on that, that's not a problem. Next, let's go ahead and there are quite a few things we're gonna have to go through here looking for this, so we'll just go and start where I definitely know we need them. Character component. We want to get mesh again. And we are looking for these get meshes right here. All right, so, and we can also do a little bit of cleanup in here too. As you remember yesterday, we basically eliminated the first person body stuff. So we can, what we can do here is, let's take this right here. Let's delete this. We'll move this over here. Break that link. We'll bring this up here. Plug that in. We'll set this to third person body, although it doesn't really matter because it's all getting the same mesh anyway. But I just feel better with it saying third person body. So then plug that in there. And then we can go ahead and delete that. We can delete that. And then we want to hook this up here. And hook this up here too. So now what we're doing is getting actually, because before we were getting just the mesh, which is this, which is our UEF mannequin, which doesn't have any sockets. It doesn't run any of the SGK animations. So we need it to be the driven mesh that we're getting for this portion right here. So basically what we can do is just copy this and then find every place where we have a get mesh here. We don't need the cast on this one. I'll show you what I mean here. Just move that. We can delete that. We can go ahead and delete that because we already copied the other thing. So for this one, we can delete that cast and just plug this directly in. We only need that cast if we're doing something with an animation, which there will be several that we do need to, so. All right, so there's that. And basically, like I said, we just want to go through every place that we can find that has that mesh and replace it with this mesh. And that's basically everywhere. I guess you don't really need that room. It'll fit right there. Oops. All right, more. Look at all those we get to do. Yay. All right, so I don't, did we do this yesterday? If not, if you haven't come through animation section, you can delete basically anything that's after this mesh, which we're going to be replacing right now, so. And this is where you do need to get skeletal mesh, so, or cast, I mean. So delete that, plug that in there. That there, that there. And we basically need to do this on all of these. can go ahead and delete that. Just plug it in right there. All right. Bunch more. And we don't really need this anymore because that was for playing more montages down the road there that we're not using anymore. So we can also delete this on this one too. And that. Same here. Oops. All right. One more. And let's see, we don't need this right here. That's doing first person arms. All right, got a couple more here to go. This one we don't need the cast. This we can, this doesn't really matter. Do we even need it? Attach elbow? No, we don't need that. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Just leave it for now in case something goes weird. We'll check it out later. This doesn't really matter because it's just attaching to the mesh, and this one doesn't matter because it's not important. It's just a sound. It's still going to be in the same position. It's not like a weapon that's going to be off in the hand a little bit or something. Right here. Oh, we do. Okay, yeah, it is a play animation. So we do need the. I got rid of that cast when I shouldn't have. All right. Next, we can just get this and do that. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. Wait, was that other mesh hooked up to that one too? Yes, it was. All right. So we need both of these to the mesh. All right. And here, first person arms, first person body. Get rid of all of that. And then you know what? We'll just take this and plug this in here. It's probably just get the same, but we'll see. Who knows? Just in case it isn't. All right, that shouldn't matter. And that looks like everything in here. Let's go ahead and search again. Oh yeah, we left that one, and we left that one. So, yeah, just those two. You don't. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could replace those, but you don't have to. I mean, it'd probably actually be better to leave this one. Oh no, I guess it doesn't. Well, yeah, that's because of the main control. So, yeah, I would just leave it the way that was, because that should be fine. All right, so now we want to go ahead and go into the player inventory and see if we can find any git meshes. Yep. That doesn't really matter because that's just getting the general location. It doesn't really like your world location. So that one can stay. These we're going to want to change though, because we're going to want to do our, it's right now is looking at the sandbox character, and our sandbox character does not have sockets on it. And even if it did, it wouldn't line up correctly with our character because it's using a retarget. So, all right. Anyway, it is time for me to go take another break here. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So again, we're going through here and we're just replacing our mesh with this git mesh. So you do that everywhere we can find it. But yeah, it's not fun, but it's worth it. Again, you only need to get the, you only need that cast to the skeletal mesh component if it's doing an animation or something. Attaching to another component is fine. This one, yeah, we're going to want to use the skeletal mesh for that one. And then we can just do that. I don't really understand that. Maybe that had something to do with multiple animations. I don't know, but whatever. Oops. Only a couple more in here, thankfully. All right. Last one here. There's that. Do a quick check again. Should all be S key Okay, get meshes for the dropped item, which is fine. We left that one there on purpose. All right, player inventory. Let's go ahead and check equipment inventory. Okay, we only have an SGK get mesh, so that should be fine. None, it's still connected to the driven mesh, so we are fine there. Like, I don't know why it would have this print string, because even default, the none was hooked up, so this would never ever fail right here, but okay, whatever. All right, so equipment inventory, let's check master inventory. Get mesh. Nope. All right, so the only thing we should really need to look for would be in our holdable items. Let's try master holdable. Just S key, yeah, just get meshes, so we're good there. Master range weapon. Oop, there's one. Yep. So that's the, okay, so what does that do? Yeah, we do. We need one here, but we don't need this one. Delete, delete, delete. But we do want to go ahead and reconnect the rest of this. That's for if you have a weapon animation. Yeah, it plays it on this mesh here, so that looks like it. Looks like the only one in here. And I do believe, oh wait, there is one more place we want to check here. Other master clothing attachment. Now, there's a couple things you can do. I don't know if we did this yesterday or not, but there you can get like disconnect a lot of this stuff. Actually, I think I already did. Yeah, a lot of this you don't need. You probably still have in here add third person skeletal. You don't really need them because everything's getting added in the third person. But if you don't, you know what? I made a little mini video that I'll put out too that went over what we did in the original part of this video of fixing the weapons. I totally had forgotten about this right here. So I'll go ahead and just do that as a separate video too. It shows you how to get rid of all of this without breaking anything. Basically it's just getting rid of code that we're not using anymore. So, but what we do need to do is see if we have any get meshes in here. That should be good. Yeah, we should be good here. That should be it. We should be good to go here, I believe. Oh, you know, I think there is one more thing we need to do. Maybe not. Holding is still quite nice. It changed a little bit, it looks like. Yeah, it's a little higher now, I feel like, than it was yesterday. And it's off to the left a little more than it was, so. But we can adjust that by doing the socket, or we could move it a little bit using the layer blueprint too. So that's easily fixable. But I mean, there it is. It's our true first person with gas. Now, one thing that we'll see here, this is one issue that we have right here. It doesn't want to drop the weapon down in front when you're running. And every once in a while it pops back through like that. I'm sure there's a way to fix that. And there's also another issue here that we'll show you. But we haven't set up the traversal either, so let's do that real quick. All right, so characters. I'm going to go into... So we want to go to input. Let's go ahead and go back to our sandbox character here, and we'll go to the jump section because right now it's using jump on it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and copy that. Actually, we'll copy this one. Copy that. Come back over here. Let's find our jump input. And let's drag it out over here. And we can do this, move it a little more actually. I'm going to put this here. That is going to be unstarted. We're going to delete that. We're going to add one more thing here. We want to get character movement is falling. And then we need, what we need is this right here. And then and. So we want to make sure that we're not doing a traversal action and we're not falling. Oops. So I wonder if that's gonna, it might have an issue with catching ledges type thing. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So now we have that. And then what we want to do right now, because I'll show, well, here, let's go ahead and just do it. Yeah, this is fine. This should do a traverse, try a traversal. If it fails, then it jumps. But let's go ahead and do this because this is actually the traversal for, it's built in. So let's take AC traversal. And let's try traversal action without traversal action, or actor. Put that in there. Duplicate this. Plug it in there. We can turn off the debug too. I don't know why that's on. And then we can do the same thing here. Get an OR and a branch. Copy. All right. So the reason we're doing both of these, I mean, you could technically get away with just doing this one, because if it doesn't have the what this is looking for, because this, like I said, this one uses the original game animation sample blocks that have to have those points on them, where this one will go with any pretty much any mesh. Although when you go to download it, you'll notice one thing that he said that it does have an issue with is if something, like if you're trying to climb onto something that's like too deep, then it might have issues doing that. So if you want to have something in your level that's like really big and tall that you want to climb onto, then you can add those extra points. Whereas pretty much everything smaller than that should be traversable automatically by using this right here. So if it can't climb with that, then it's going to check this one to see if it can climb it. If not, then it's going to jump. And then what we want to do is on both of these, actually we need to go to begin play first. And we are going to go ahead and do a, we're going to get our driven mesh here. Get animation instance. And we're going to cast to our third person anim. And let's create a variable out of that. And we'll just call it driven and anim. All right, so now we want to go back here. And what we're going to do here is nothing yet. We're going to go ahead and make sure this works. So let's do a cube. Let's make it 2 by 2 by 2. And let's play. Climate, sweet. That didn't make a land sound there. Now this is the issue that we have right here. So, how do we fix that? Well, it's pretty easy, really. What we're going to do is go back into our character here. And that driven anim blue or variable we just got. I'm going to take that. And we are going to, oh yeah, we want to allow hand IKs. If you remember earlier, we set up our animation blueprint to change depending upon whether this is enabled or not. We want 2 copies of this because we want one here in case we are able to traverse that. And we want one here if we are able to traverse that. And we're telling it not to allow the hand IKs. All right, and then what we're going to do now too is we want to go to our sandbox character here. We can go ahead and delete this jump because that's not being used anymore. We want to go here to our perform traversal action. And we'll go ahead and put it right here. Let's create a custom event. Oops. And we will call this reset hand IKs. And we'll just put that event right there. And we will grab the function here and put it in there. All right. Now we come back to our character and we can call that reset. Oops. Reset hand IKs. We want the event. We don't have to override it or anything because it's not actually doing anything here. So, and then we want to so now when we traverse something, it's going to disable our hand IKs. And then, because even the AC traversal here, the try traversal without traversal actor, it actually does, somewhere in here, it actually calls this event right here on the sandbox character. So it's getting called by either one of them. So that's going to work. This is going to be reset whether we traverse with the sandbox character or if we traverse with the add-on traversal mechanism. So that's good. So now, if we go in here and grab ourselves a weapon, ta-da! And then when the animation's done, we bring our weapon back up. Ta-da! Amazing. So, I think that's it. Again, I mean, just need to change just play with your sockets a little bit. The aim socket location that we added yesterday, or use the layers of the weapon to get it adjusted however you want. It's basically there. I mean, and then we'll figure out this thing with it not dropping down when you're running too, but that's not a big deal at the moment. But I mean, I think it's definitely a lot better than the last version. Especially with the aiming. The aiming is actually amazing compared to the last version. But anyway, I think that's it. And if I come up with any fixes on that, I will make a new video. And if you guys find anything out, just post it in SGK's Discord, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, have a good one. All right, so a couple things here I think we're going to go ahead and change before we're done with this here. And that's going to be here for one. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we'll just put that back to how it was with not doing the traversal action. And then what we'll do with this is bring it here to the end. And we can just probably go ahead and add an we have that, or we can probably just add an and. So if it's you're not falling and both the traversal and montage check failed, then you can actually jump. So what that'll do is this should allow us to still be able to. I was thinking about this, is that there's catch animations, and another thing too we're going to do here is we may actually want to move this. Let me take a look real quick, because I was thinking about it. The triggered, I'm pretty sure we need to have that still firing. So if we want to be able to catch a ledge. So what we're going to do is take a look over here in the other project. Actually, let's go back to here. So let's put the jump back in here. It was IA jump. I'm pretty sure that they had it started and then this was triggered. Pretty sure that's how it was set up. So the jump goes on the started. So what we can do is that's all. That should be all good right there. And then we just want to do this and that and that and that and that and that. And no, we don't need that. Or do we? This will be for a catch, so I don't know. We'll see. Let's just try this right now. And what we need to do is put this on. Oops. What will be copied here on triggered. And if we're not in the middle of a traversal action, we're going to try it. And then if we do, we're going to disable the hand IKs. So yeah, I think let's just go ahead and add this on here too. And I think we'll be good like this. So if we actually, when we're holding it, if we end up with a traversal action, it should again disable the hand IKs. Yeah, I think this should work. This looks like it should work. This is the normal jump right here. And if we're holding down the key, and we end up with any of those conditions for our traversal, then it should traverse. And yeah, this should be good. That should be good. All right. That should work. I don't see why. Oh, yeah, it probably helps if we add the AC traversal component there. just as I was about to say, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. Helps if you hook it up correct, but yeah. All right, now there's no reason why this shouldn't work. Oops. All right, there's that. And then the other thing I was thinking here is that on our animation blueprint, where we have this allow hand IKs, I think that we need to get rid of that actually, because I think there's other places where allow hand IKs are going to be used, and we actually don't want it to switch in that case. So what we're going to do here is go ahead and create a new variable here, and we're going to call this is traversing. Now, we actually might not need that. Hang on. Yeah, we will still need that because we still have to set it. But if we go to update, yeah, we can probably just do it in here. Why not? Um, so what we're doing here is lost my train of thought for a minute. All right, we need to first thing we need to do is go to our other interfaces, SGK character interface, and we're going to add a new function, and we'll call it SGK get traversal. And we want to have an output that is a boolean, and we will call it is traversing. All right, so now back on SGK master character. Go to interfaces and open up get traversal. And then is, what was it? Is performing traverse. Let's just try traversal. There's already a variable here for it. Get doing traversal action. Set that there. And now we go back to our third person animation and we can, we have a character reference, right? Don't we? We don't have a character reference. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and on begin play here. Let's get owner. Is that it? Yeah, it's going to be an actor. So let's get character. Cast character. No, that's not it. Wait a second here. Get owning an actor. No, there's another one. What is it? Isn't there an owning character or something? No. All right, dang it, this is making me try get pawn owner. Is that it? Yes, that's the one we're looking for. And then we're gonna go to master character, or actually, we can just do character. That'll be fine. So cast a character. And then we'll create a variable off that. All right, and then what we want to do with that character is go back to our update here. And we want to get our character. And we want to, let's just do traversal. SGK get traversal. Plug that in, add our is traversing node here. And now if we go back to, did we already add it? We already did to add it to our animation graph, didn't we? Yep. So now we should only be dropping our hand-eye Ks when we're actually traversing. So let's see. Oh, why is it doing that all of a sudden? Didn't do that before. Okay, so that's not working, obviously. All right, so you could just say that sometimes we make mistakes. So basically, we need to make it that is traversing a knot. Okay, so did it right. Just need to make that knot. So now when we run around and grab a weapon, when we run, we still have the issue of it not dropping down like to your chest level like it did in SGK. But I'm sure we can find a way to fix that. We're not going to do it in this video, but we will. But it does, however, let go of the weapon when you jump, so climb stuff, which is the important thing here that we were looking for. So, all right, so I think that's the last little fix for this. Let's see. There was something else I was thinking of. Hang on. So that should, because the reason we did this instead of the allow hand IKs is because I know that, like, for instance, the was it the axe? Yes, this one disables hand IKs and then re-enables them. So I'm not exactly sure what that would do if we used it with the way we had it set before. I mean, we can find out. Let's just do that real quick, I guess. Why not? I mean, that's what it's all about, troubleshooting and trial and error, right? So let's just see what happens. So go over here and we'll pick us up an axe. It's not working. So, I mean, I'm just right off the bat, I don't think that's because of anything that has to do with that setting we just set. I think it has to do with probably the fact that where is it, master melee weapon? There. There's probably a get mesh in here because I don't remember going through here. Yep. There we go. Play montage, get mesh. So then SGK get mesh. Oh, that's right. We have to cast to that one. Skeletal mesh component. So the third person, just because. And then that should be good there. And then animation here, another one we need to do the same. So it's trying to play the montage on. Oops, deleted the wrong node there. Man, why does it always gotta look so ugly? Again, I don't know why I'm doing this because I'm gonna probably delete this project in a couple days here. So Maybe it'll inspire you guys to clean up your code a little. I've seen some pretty ugly code out there. All right, so anyway, doesn't matter what we set it here, but just because I'm a little bit anal, I guess you could say, we're setting it to third person body, and now our act should probably work. Let's see, what do we change in here? Yeah, we're testing to see what happens with allow with the hand IKs on the melee weapon here. It works. It swings. Doesn't seem to affect anything. I still think it's better to just have it on the traversal action that way. The IKs, if there is something that actually might affect it. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Okay, so that's why, because we have it on. Wait, why is it doing that? It shouldn't be doing that. Or do we have it on a not? Did we disable the allow hand IK somewhere? I don't think so. Unreal, what's your freaking problem? Now it wants to hold it right. This freaking engine, I swear to God. So goofy sometimes. I mean, you all saw that. I don't know. Whatever. It's working. You saw it. It's working. That should be the fixes there, so have a good one.